Hello. Today we visit Ask Reddit to ask Redditors with peacocks what is the worst or most interesting thing you have had happen. Make sure to comment any pets you may want to have. With that, sit back and enjoy. Hey, guys. I actually own a peacock. They're all little shits. We keep our peacock in the chicken coop with the chickens, and this guy is just a generally asshat. He's not even that pretty of an asshat, he's just white with some coloring on the back of his neck. Duck me, I can't describe shit. Alright. So my sister is a godless liberal, right? So for her high school graduation gift she wanted a goddamn peacock. Like, that's not even a valid gift. Why do you want a peacock? I'm assuming she just wanted one with no real reason. So this peacock is always up in people's business, making this weird honking noise and shit. I really wish he would stop because goddammit it wakes me up at night. But the worst thing he does is try to escape. Trying to bring some goddamned prime chick and peacock approved food in? Not today. This mother ducker will literally try and ducking escape every goddamn time. And this chicken coop is like a little house and he ain't satisfied with shit. Hell, it even has a pretty big outdoor enclosure. So we have horses too, and they goddamn hate the peacock. When he comes out of the enclosure honking and shit, they all go to the other's pasture and he just sits there pruning his feathers and shit, I don't know. But yeah, back to the worst thing. This goddamn hippie digs under the enclosure fence. And you know what can climb under small holes? Ducking raccoons. So it's a real quiet night and we hear all this shit coming from the chicken coop. Sounds like Satan having a huge shit and anally tearing his own asshole with a shovel. So my dad runs out in his underwear and muck boots, because yeah, we do that shit. And he grabs a goddamn pitchfork. Now there was some obvious shit happening in the chicken coop outdoor enclosure and a raccoon is tearing shit up. So my dad goes in the enclosure and ducking pins the thing in the corner of the enclosure with a goddamn pitchfork. Then he grabs a gun and shoots it at the same time. Because we were in the country at that point in our life, he brought a gun out too. But yeah, the raccoon's dead and one chicken is dead, and the worst thing the goddamn peacock did? Tried to eat the damn chicken. 2 questions. What is the peacock's name? And how was he unsuccessful in eating the chicken? The peacock doesn't really have a name. I'm assuming my sister named him something majestic or some shit, but I call him asshat. Have you considered just letting him escape? What's your sister going to do? It escaped. You tried to stop it. Really? Maybe then a coyote got it. A coyote with a gun. Think of the possibilities. Okay, in all honesty, when I was a teenager I stole a peacock from a meth lab. Afterwards that peacock was very clingy but in a weird way. He wouldn't let most people approach him, but he would try not to let me out of his sight. He even slept outside my bedroom window at night. They can fly short distances even with the long-ass tail feathers. Eventually we had to get rid of him because he was ducking the chickens and they stopped laying eggs out of fear. Please explain how you came upon a peacock at a meth lab. The meth lab belonged to our next-door neighbors. It actually was a facility to train racehorses, which failed, so they rented it out quickly to a small, working farm. By that I mean they had a number of animals there to mask their activities. They had a peacock, a donkey, a couple of sheep and goats, some pigs, and a couple of horses. They also had like 15 huge dogs. They were actually really friendly, but I imagine they were really scary to a lot of people. Then one day all the dogs disappeared, so I went over to see if anyone was home, if anything had happened. Anyway, my family ended up taking most of the animals before the authorities arrived, and they all got rehomed almost immediately through our 4-H club except the peacock. I would just like to say that I would absolutely watch a show that's like Breaking Bad, but the meth lab is set up at a petting zoo and the peacock keeps getting them into trouble with his wacky antics. I'd watch the duck out of that. Peaking bad. I worked at a water park that had them. One attacked an obese lady on her Scooty Puff, but the scooter could nowhere near outrun the peacock. Imagine seeing this huge lady screaming her head off like a banshee while this glorious bird chases her down the sidewalk pecking at her and her Scooty Puff the entire time. It was hilarious. What on earth is a Scooty Puff? The fat people Walmart transport. I grew up farming with my grandfather, and one of his dogs kept killing the chickens that'd get out of the henhouse. He read somewhere that if you got peacocks, they'd keep the chickens safe, and you could sell the feathers. So he did. The first time a hen got out and the dog came charging in, I saw the peacock jump, fly over a fence and land right in front of the dog. It made this unbelievably loud hiss-click scream sound and opened its tail. The dog ran away making that whimpering sound. Why not a mean ol' rooster? That's their job. Edit. I am around chickens a lot and have a rooster. I know that roosters fertilize eggs. But apparently it is unknown to Reddit that you can collect fertilized eggs and put them in the refrigerator and the development stops. The chick doesn't begin to develop right away. You just can't sell them to a grocery store, because customers are put off by it. I'm not entirely sure why he didn't have roosters. But you reminded me of one of my grandpa's favorite stories. When he was a boy, his family got a mixed batch of chickens one year and there were a handful of roosters. One of them grew up to be a big, mean ducker, and he killed off all the others except this real scrawny-looking one. Basically, this other little rooster was no threat. Well, one day it rained, and the big ducker got caught out in the storm for a bit, and the rain took all the fluff and air out of his feathers, so he looked more skinny. Well, the scrawny rooster felt emboldened by this, or probably just didn't recognize that it was the big ducker, and picked a fight and won. Ah, homie. Now you need to write a song about this ducking David and Goliath rooster story. We have a neighborhood wandering peacock. It is a complete asshole and chases the friendly fixed feral and on occasion will block traffic by puffing up and screaming. Complete dickhead. The friendly fixed feral. Cats? Children? Help us out here. Mongoose. I mean armadillo. Bear. Pig. I used to own an albino peacock named George. He would sit on the top of my garage perfectly still, until someone pulled into our driveway, then dive-bomb the poor soul like it was ducking Pearl Harbor. That is hilarious. I never peacocks were so mischievous until this thread. Don't own any peacocks myself, but there is a group of them that wander around campus at my university. They are quite tame and love having their picture taken. But they don't do much of interest other than sit around. That said, I have heard they will rip your arm off if you call them chickens. Edit. For all of you who guessed UWA, you are indeed correct. Jesus tits, it's late and I wanna go to bed, but I saw all these queries for peacocks and I have to respond. I don't have a peacock. I have, about 23. I put in the, about because when you have that many peacocks, and as they wander my farm they are born, they die, they get eaten, mauled, or sucked into haybines, big lawnmowers and their numbers go up, down, who knows. My dad bought a mating pair about 30 years ago and initially kept them in a big pen with our chickens and pheasants. As they multiplied, and ate a lot we decided to let them out and roam our good-sized cattle farm. Before you know it, peacocks at platoon strength are roaming the yards, woods, and fields. Great conversation for company. I can remember my best friend Joey getting out of his car to say hi, when he jumped back with his arms over his head saying, Jesus. What is hell is that? A ducking velociraptor? Why we got them wasn't a big deal. My dad just wanted a few. We had an emu experiment also, but that's a whole new thread. Most of what I've been reading on here is fairly accurate, except mine have never been anything close to so aggressive or brazen. They're pretty big chickens, really. Well, sort of both meanings. I really didn't get on here intending to friggin' type, but I will mention a couple of things. They are the best watchdogs of all time. They roost in our oak trees at night, and anything that even approaches up the lane is met by honks and screams. I say screams because it's sort of a mix between a woman screaming from falling while also being stabbed mingled in and a haw. They know what's coming way before the dogs do. If you have a mirror outside, they will break it. Their favorite pastime is staring into reflective surfaces and pecking at themselves. The males lose their tail feathers in the spring. Looks like an avian apocalypse for weeks from so many birds' feathers scattered around. I'll post more tomorrow if anyone notices this response. Got lots of pictures. Good night. Sorry Reddit, I am trying to deliver but it's lackluster. I can answer some questions. Emu story will have to wait. Big bird, kicks cows, jumps fences, terrifies neighbors. Maybe a post someday. They don't break the side mirrors on the cars only because they're too far off the ground. They will peck the shit out of your car rims though if they're polished. No favorite peacock. Lifespan is unpredictable because of cats ignore them. Dogs think they're the most insanely fun ducking thing God put to earth. They're big, they run. If you catch them feathers go everywhere. Think a salamander losing its tail. Dog runs and jumps on a fleeing male's tail and the feathers all come out also. When caught they make the absolute loudest beep, honk sound you've ever heard. It's remarkable. Sounds like something a life-size playschool car would make. Downside is my huskies play too rough to be compatible with life. They have a soft little tuft of fur under the base of their tail. If you can sneak up behind them, you're a ninja, but when they're showing off it's possible. Poke them in that tuft and you get rewarded with a giant honk noise. Now this is one of my favorite comments. I'm going to upvote this because I really hope that some Redditor out there who owns a peacock and can reply to the question seriously. Yeah, like I've seen niche AskReddit threads before and thought, that's kinda ambitious, but this one is next level unlikely. I try for the niche. Sometimes it doesn't work and I am not allowed to post for a while. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching all the way until the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment a pet you wish you had. If you want to continue to watch my content, click the video on screen now. Until next time.